best place to start is, I was asking when you arrived at Blackpool in 2009, could you really imagine the journey you'd go on with that club?
Probably not. I think I was probably a frustrated sort of player coming out of one of the old firm clubs. Um, Felt that I was probably needed to play more for Rangers than I did, and the opportunities that I had. But the thing for me was that the opportunity I got to play was obviously the loan was the first part of it for me was difficult because I'd never really moved. I'd moved away from home, but it was only an hour and a half from Dundee to Glasgow, but this was totally different for me moving into a new group. Um, I'd been on loan before, and obviously I played against a few players that were already here, like Scottish lads and that were already here as well. So that really helped me. I got a really good bond with Stephen Craney when I was here on loan, and obviously the first game I got sent off, which wasn't a great start, but I think when you sort of score in a game against Preston. I think that sort of endears you to the supporters a little bit as well.
How important was that group? Because some of them had been together, obviously they'd won promotion together, and a lot of them would stay together, for over the next few years. So how important was that?
Oh yeah, of course it was. It was important because that club had been that Blackpool had been League Two, League One, had built momentum through playoffs. And obviously they are a playoff club in terms of how they get promoted and stuff like that. But it was just nice to be part of a group where they were a top group at the time when I went in. Obviously Evo Cranes, Rob Edwards was in there, Keith Southern, Klaus Jorgensen, just a group that had just obviously had the promotion, but also just needed a little bit of real quality to come into it and maybe take it to the next level. Did we think we'd get to the Premier League? Absolutely not. But again, that group had done brilliant to get to the Championship and stabilise in there. But when I came on loan, we were close to relegation zone. Tony Parks was obviously the interim manager at that time with Tomo, and yeah, it was just brilliant to come into a club that I just felt part of straight away.
Yeah, you mentioned Tony Parks, who we recently lost. What was he like as a figure, welcoming you in with Tom, who'd obviously been at the club for a long time as well?
Um, yeah, I think if you look at Tomo, Tony was just a brilliant guy to be around. Very good coach, had vast experience as well, and just gave me that sort of freedom and platform to go and play. Probably getting sent off in your first game probably doesn't help you, but he backed me again and he put me back in the team when I'd had that suspension and got the opportunities to play and show the quality I had and score some good goals in that one, even in the loan period I had there. And yeah, I just had that connection with the supporters straight away when I come in the building, and I think they just understood what type of player I was going to be and what I wanted to be.
Was your attitude always going to be important? Obviously, you've been at Rangers for a long time. Your experience with European Cup final with Rangers being in that squad, and then obviously leaving, moving far from home. Did you have to get your attitude spot on to make sure you was a success?
Well, it was definitely culture shock to me in terms of what it was, the training ground, and say level of standards in terms of how it was. It was totally different for me. But what it did is it galvanized the group. The group was so together. We used to go out a lot together after games in the week. It was just yeah, it was different, and I think something that sort of just covers up really what actually was happening really. And there was obviously former owner and Oyston's run the club the way they run it. The also culture shock was getting paid £90 a week in the summer when I signed full time. So a lot of different things in terms of the dynamics coming from Rangers to there. But again, like you say, it's about your mentality, your attitude. Are you going to sit there and you're going to accept it and or go, or are you going to want to drive and become better? I always felt, and I took this to me that I always had that level. I was capable of playing for Rangers. I'd played for Rangers, so coming to Blackpool was a lot easier because I'd seen what the top level looked like. I've always tried to set that standard in my playing career, my coaching, that the things I learned at Rangers, you could always take to levels that you go and play it and you coach at, and you can have these standards, you can have the habits, daily habits, how you train, how you look after yourself, and yeah, I just tried to train as well as I could and get the opportunity to flourish in a team that was in sort of around that relegation bit when I first came on loan.
After the loan, was you always keen to return to Blackpool? Was that always going to be the place for you to go permanently?
Yeah, that was ultimately that was my decision I wanted to do. But again, it was difficult because Rangers wanted £500,000 at the time, and Blackpool never really paid transfer fees or any fees really. So I didn't really think that the deal would happen. I was subject, obviously, I had a bid of like 400,000, I think it was, from Preston. Alan Irvin's Scottish coach was there at the time, was desperate for me to go there. And Ollie had been on the phone to me during the pre-season. I was away pre-season to Rangers, and Ollie had just been appointed. And he was on the phone to me every other day, really, just saying, "Can we get it done? Do you want to come?" And I was like, "Yeah, I want to come, but obviously they have to agree to sort of transfer fee and everything like that." And Valeri Bellicom was the man to stump up the money to make it happen, and forever grateful for that because the club and will be always be a big part of my life.
Yeah, you think of just how, recognised you are with Blackpool and how much you achieved there. Was it a sliding doors moment with obviously Preston being on the table, that how different history could have been?
Yeah, yeah. Again, that's the difference of where it could have been and where it went. My agent, obviously, it was difficult because I wanted to go to Blackpool, and the transfer fee was a big fee in terms of for Blackpool was huge at the time, and didn't think they'd play it. And yeah, I was just desperate to play and enjoyed the area. Wanted to come back to sort of this area, and yeah, just the opportunity when Blackpool agreed that fee, I was delighted to come down and get it signed.
And Ian Holloway, obviously the man in charge. What was he like when he came into the building? I know I've heard stories about how he sort of galvanised everyone. Did he have an instant impact?
It had an instant impact with me because the conversations I had was like, I was as a personal level was always like, come and help us drive the team. I'll get you to the Premier League. You're a player that's capable of going and playing in the Premier League. Trust me, I've done it with these type of players before. Get the team together. I'll build a team around you. And yeah, very fortunate enough that I got that responsibility from a manager that just put full trust in me as a player and as a person to come and help the group. And we had some tough moments. Absolutely, we had some hard and tough decisions and conversations we had during the season in terms of the training ground and after games and what we wanted. And he galvanized it with his quality of coaching, but also his ideas of what he wanted from the players.
Not to make you feel old, but this year, 16 years since those championship playoffs. Obviously, the
Um,
semi-final to start with against Forest at Bloomfield Road. What was that night like? Obviously, you scored 2-1 win, and did you just feel the momentum was carrying you at that point?
16 years. Wow, was that long ago? Yeah, I just felt that. Well, obviously, Forest, we'd played them in the season, and we got it better. I think actually we beat them at Forest before 1-0, and I scored the goal at the City Ground, and we were delighted to get Forest in the semi-final. We felt that Cardiff or Leicester were probably going to be the strongest team in that. If we played Cardiff earlier in the season, and I think we drew there. Leicester were a very good side with the players that they had, and for us, Forest were a very very good side that they had with the players that they had in terms of what Billy had built there, and um, yeah, it was just a brilliant game. The first game, obviously, we won 2-1, and I scored a penalty in that game, and I remember coming off the game and off the pitch, we were celebrating, and we were walking back down the tunnel, and Billy Davis is shouting, "Yeah, but you got a second leg to come at the City Ground, and we'll get you there," and blah blah blah. And so we was trying to be a bit of mind games going on in that Forest game, and then we got to the Forest game at the City Ground, and they delayed coming into the tunnel, just trying to have the tactics. So I banged on the door and told them to hurry up and get out, and just tried to show that we were here, and we were the better team, and we were coming for them. And yeah, they've got a brilliant stadium with a loud fan base, but ultimately it's 11v11 on the pitch, and we feel that we had better players on that day, and we certainly proved that and showed it.
Yeah, you mentioned those mind games. Did you enjoy just standing up to that? Obviously, putting your own authority, showing your own character as a team.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what I said. That's the confidence I had playing with a big club that. you could put any of the Forest players. I'd back myself against any single one of them, and that's where I was. That's where I felt that, and we should have felt that as well as a group. That, by the way, we deserve to be here. And we're talking about little old Blackpool. We ain't little old Blackpool. We're here to win a game, and we've done that. And we showed our quality on the night. We were a bit chaotic at times, and the game sort of got away from us a little bit at times. But we managed to score that, and that quality goals that we scored from Dage and was really really good.
And then obviously a famous day at Wembley, a goal for yourself, captain, oh, obviously promotion. Just how special was that, and how strong are those memories?
Yeah, very strong because I see memorabilia that I've got, and I look at it quite a lot, and I think about it a lot because when I go to the stadium now, the all the good memories come back when I come to the stadium to watch the games, and I think about the time that I was there and I played in the teams that we played at, and then you think about Wembley, and people want to talk about Wembley, and even to the day now, if I meet Blackpool fans, it's all about that day at Wembley and where they were and what they were doing. I just remember it was roasting hot day, and we people say we were the underdogs, but I was always confident that we were good enough on the day. They had some great players as well, Cardiff, but we watched the sort of the other semi final, and when it come to it, we were delighted that we'd got Cardiff and not Leicester. Because, like I said before, I thought Leicester were a very strong side with the team that they had, and yeah, we done a brilliant job on Cardiff that day, and showing a great reaction again. That team spirit from coming a goal down and 2-1 down to then come 2-2 and then 3-2 ahead and then hanging on in the end. But we were amazing on the day as a team. To see that out was incredible, and then to go on that journey with that football club was very special.
What were the celebrations like that night?
Yeah, well, thing is, I ended up going to bed like quite early because the emotion of it, it drains you. Um, didn't really know how to really enjoy it, but the next day we enjoyed it. Obviously, the open top bus and party and stuff like that. But just brilliant to be part of it and seeing the streets lined up with Blackpool fans across along the prom were really really special.
Obviously Premier League life. I've spoken to a few people from that group, and I think there's a mixture of obviously they enjoyed the experience. It was great, historic for Blackpool, but there's also that bit of regret that obviously it ended in relegation. Just a mixed emotions when you look back to that season.
Yeah, a lot of mixed emotions. As a team, you can't get to 30, 37, 26, 27 points Christmas time, I think it was, and then get relegated with 38 points or 39 points. It's the back end of the season was just a real poor return. I had really big moments during that time. Two games sort of spring to mind. Blackburn away, we were 2-0 up. Bolton, we were two goals up as well, and we lost late goals. We lost a lot of late goals in games, and I think that was a little bit of the Ollie maverick in him that we just wanted to score more goals than the others, and yeah, it cost us really at times. And if we'd stayed up, it would have been a miracle. But yeah, really proud to be part of that group that played in the Premier League, and I think everybody enjoyed what we did in the Premier League and how we attacked it and how we scored and the goals we conceded. If you remember back, we won 4-0 on the first day of the season. Quarter to five, we were top of the league. And then by 8 o'clock that night, we were second because I think Arsenal had won a big result. And then the following Sunday, or Saturday, we got beat 6-0 at Arsenal. So that's the reality of where we are as at football club. And we just enjoyed the journey. And yeah, of course, we have regrets when you don't stay up. But it was a brilliant time to be in the Premier League and playing against some of the best players in the world.
Was it a strange feeling when it came to leaving? Obviously, in such a short amount of time, you'd achieved so much with Blackpool, and you obviously, felt at home. But when you had offers from obviously Liverpool in the end, was it just hard, mixed emotions again, thinking, how should I feel here?
Yeah, absolutely. We need it again. You have to make decisions for yourself and your career, and to turn down the opportunity to go to Liverpool would have been absolutely crazy. The club never missed me the following season. They managed to get to the playoffs in the Championship again, and then missed out to West Ham. So, um, if we'd stayed up, then then things might have been different. But when you get relegated and you've had that taste of Premier League and a club like Liverpool come, you can't turn it down. You have to try and make things happen. And I had to do that for myself and for my family. That going to Liverpool was an amazing, special feeling. And it just shows for any young player that if you want to give up, don't give up. These opportunities will come, and you might fulfil your dreams. And it was really important for me to go to Liverpool and also part ways with the club. And sadly, from that day, really, I think it's been a tough place. And ultimately now it's only just starting to grow and start to get back to a level where it should be capable of.
I just want to quickly touch on your time at Liverpool. Obviously, you played under the great Kenny Dalglish, but Steve Clarke was his assistant there. Could you see the path that he'd follow, obviously, at a World Cup this summer with Scotland?
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Delighted for Steve. Tremendous coach, but a great guy. Obviously, him, Steve, Kenny, Steve Keane, Kevin Keane, sorry, was the first team coach there who played and was at West Ham, and just brilliant to learn from the people. But ultimately, the players around you help you so much. And I will say, very fortunate enough that I'm one of a small minority of players that gets to pulled on that Liverpool jersey, and played I think nearly 40 games for them. So really proud of that. But yeah, went and had my own career in the Premier League after that, and I was a special football club and still is to this day.
You mentioned, obviously, how things changed for Blackpool after the relegation, and I know they got the playoff final, but then after that it was a slow decline each year. How
Yeah,
tough was it looking in from the outside, just seeing what was happening?
yeah, very tough, and been a tough. Ultimately the Oystons had built the football club for invested, money into the football club each year to keep it there. Um, and again, we could all sit and say we could have, should have built a training ground. We could have done that. They could have done this, but the prerogative was different from what we feel and what we did, and disappointing that way. Not to be able to leave a legacy from that Premier League era, for our point of view. But now there's a new ownership in there, and they seem to be wanting to invest in it and make it better and try and grow it. They've had the taste of that Championship football under Neil Critchley, and hopefully they can try and build that and get back there one day again.
How much do you enjoy going back? I know you've been a few times, you was on TV duty as well, but how much do you enjoy that? And does it feel like you was at the club longer than what you actually were? It was only 2009 to 2011, but does it feel like
Yeah,
you were there for a lifetime?
yeah, it feels like I was there a long time, but actually it was only 2.5 years. It was only the 6 months loan and then 1 year in the Championship, 1 year in the Premier League. So, um, yeah, just every time you go, you get that buzz and that feel. And I've been this year where it's been difficult, under Steve, but also at times under Evo, it's been difficult. But when they've managed to get the place rocking and bouncing, the atmosphere is incredible, and it's a totally different football club and the feel for it. So, what they want to do this year, obviously stayed up well enough and plenty of points, but they don't want to be there next year chasing that, because I know, no, speaking to the staff and that, there's a big season for the football club going forward now, and yeah, big things need to be changed, and recruitment, some new players, and Evo's ideas, because his record since he went in has been very, very good.
Yeah, how pleased are you to see everyone in charge, someone you know very well, and obviously enjoying a
Yeah,
strong end.
delighted for the lads. Delighted for the lads. Because ultimately, yeah, he's the manager, but you need good coaches and you need good staff around you. And I think they support him very well. Um, I think he would try and do things a little bit different. The good thing is he's had the experience of being in the club for a few months now, and you know understands what it's needed, what needs to be taken, and there was far too many injuries last year to really be competitive to the level they want to be. The owner has invested heavily in last summer, and was at one point it didn't look great, and they made the change, and everyone managed to get the team up and running, and through a lot of difficult moments they've stuck together, and the supporters have been with them, and yeah, they got that result in the last sort of couple of weeks of the summer, the season, and managed to get over the line and stay up, and now they look to try and build on that next season.
just finally on your own coaching career? I know you're back at Burnley now, working with the academy. You had a taste of first team management with Fleetwood. So where are you at in your career? Where are you aiming to end up in the next few years?
Happy in the environment that I'm in, learning, developing, but again, I always have an eye on that first team environment that I want to get back into. I want to lead again. I want to be a coach that could make something different. If that is going as a first team coach somewhere, going as an assistant, going on my own and as a number one, I'm very open to all sort of ideas in terms of these sort of opportunities that come around. And I always believe that you get that opportunity to learn and develop from whoever you work around, and can you take things from each other and learn and grow and help people around you. And that's where it is for me. So yeah, waiting to see where it goes. But I'm at a very good club that I have a good relationship with a lot of people, and just let's say just see what happens in the future.